Hello and welcome to the Hack Divorce Course Financials module. My name is Michelle. I'm a family law mediator and creator of the Hack Divorce Course. Check out the link below to download the free financial module workbook that accompanies these videos. And if you're a DIYer and would like to write your own separation agreement, click on the link below to purchase my definitive sourcebook of family law separation agreement clauses. This one-of-a-kind, indispensable resource will show you a dozen examples of real, comprehensive separation agreements with tips and tools so you can competently write your own agreement. Be sure to like and subscribe, and now, let's get on with it. Up until now, we've been working our way through various aspects of your marital finances. We've gathered a lot of information and numbers, and now is the time to start bringing it all together. Essentially, by working through the equalization, we're figuring out what the total net value of all the owned property is between the divorcing couple. As you'll see, one party usually owns more of the marital property, and in order to make it fair and equal, a payment will need to be made from the party who has more to the party who has less. By doing so, both parties should walk away with an equal amount of the net family property. Using the financial information checklist, we calculated the net values of all of your assets, debts, pensions, and the marital home. By net, I mean we calculated the amount that something was worth on the date of separation, and then we subtracted the amount that it was worth on the date of marriage, if it existed then. This allowed us to calculate the increase in wealth during the duration of the marriage. Because you've already done the work of figuring out what these net values are using the financial information checklist, we simply need to put them into the equalization chart. No need to do the math again. So, John came into the marriage with $10,000 of work RRSPs, and throughout their 10-year marriage, those RRSPs increased to $100,000. Therefore, the net increase in value during the marriage was $90,000. We'll assign the $90,000 to John's asset column. As well, John has a work pension. It was worth $15,000 when he married Patricia, and it grew to $85,000 while they were married. Therefore, the net increase of John's pension during the marriage was $70,000. We'll assign $70,000 to John's asset column. Next, John has a whole life insurance policy that his parents bought him before he was married. It had a cash surrender value of $5,000 when he married Patricia, and is worth $25,000 on the date of separation. So we'll assign the net increase of $20,000 to John's asset column. John has a Honda Civic and it's worth $20,000. He didn't have it on the date of marriage and there is no money owing on it. We'll assign $20,000 to John's asset column. John has a credit card with a balance of $1,500 on it, so we'll assign that to his debt column. Now, moving on to Patricia's assets. We see that she had an RRSP worth $5,000 when she married John, and it's now worth $20,000. So we'll put $15,000 in her asset column. Patricia also has a Honda Civic. She didn't have it when John and her were married, and it's worth $25,000. However, there's still a loan of $10,000 remaining on Patricia's car, so the net value of her car is $15,000. We'll assign that to her asset column because she'll be keeping her car and taking over the loan on it in her name. John and Patricia have some joint debts on the financial checklist that include a line of credit that's $20,000 and must be paid off when John buys out Patricia's half of the home. Also, he'll be paying the $2,000 that's left on the joint credit card. Because this will become part of his debt exclusively, we will assign both of these debts to his side. Finally, recall from the marital home buyout video that John is buying up Patricia's half of the equity in the home, which is $125,000. Therefore, he will have the full value of the equity of the home, which is $250,000, assigned to him as an asset. So we can see from the totals here at the bottom that John's portion of the marital property is worth $426,500 and that Patricia's is $30,000. John has $396,500 more than Patricia. To make it fair and equal, John needs to give Patricia half of the difference, or $198,250. If we do some quick checking math, we'll see that after the equalization payment, each party will have $228,250 of the net family property. So you can see why it's called an equalization. It's because each party should walk away with the same amount of value in assets. Let's take a moment and quickly see what happens if John and Patricia decide to sell their house instead of having John buy it out from Patricia. First of all, let's say that the home sells for $500,000 and that the mortgage remaining is $250,000. That leaves a net equity of $250,000 before fees and paying off joint debt. From the $250,000, we're going to subtract 3% real estate commission at $15,000. Also, lawyer's fees of $3,000, the joint credit card debt of $2,000, and the line of credit of $20,000. That leaves approximately $210,000 for John and Patricia to split, giving them $105,000 per person. Now we can see that this change has also affected the amount of equalization that John needs to pay Patricia. In this case, because John still has more assets, but Patricia gets money from the sale of the house, John owes Patricia $84,250 instead of the $198,250. The numbers are lower for the equity of the home because of the expenses involved in selling it. Therefore, if we do some quick math, we can see that John has assets of $303,500, subtract $84,250 for the amount that he needs to pay to Patricia, and that equals $219,250. Patricia has assets of $135,000, and she gets $84,250 from John in equalization. And that also leaves her with $219,250 in total assets. So each party has $219,250 of net family property, and this is fair. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to grab your copy of my indispensable resource for writing your own separation agreement, the definitive sourcebook of family law separation agreement clauses. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.